Hello, welcome. It is really, really hot out, and thankfully I am inside in air conditioning. Very lucky to have air conditioning up here, however, it does not reach down into the studio, so that's why I'm not down there today. But thank you all for joining. Looks like a bunch of people here in the chat already. I want to do a little experiment. Let me know how hot it is where you are right now. Put something in the chat, just tell me how many degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, doesn't matter. I want to see how warm it is everywhere. It is only 10 a.m. and it is already 85 degrees here, which is, I'm not good at the conversion automatically in my head. Oh, it's almost 30 Celsius here, so that's great. That's just great. And it's supposed to reach up to 44 Celsius today, or 112 Fahrenheit, which is not okay. It's just not okay. So, okay, we got some temperatures rolling in. 91 in, it must be North Carolina. We got 86 in Florida. 66 in San Jose. Wow. That's very comfortable. 84. Glasgow, 21 Celsius. 89 in Texas. Only 84 in Texas. Yeah, okay. Well, it is, yeah. So let me explain a little bit about what I've got going on up here. This is my Sony ZV-1. It's the one that's very good at autofocus, and I can like put stuff up there and it should just grab it. So the Sony ZV-1, love this camera. It is being powered off of wall power because I am inside. I don't trust the battery to last a whole live stream, but I would otherwise power it off of a USB battery. I am using the Rode Wireless Go microphone, and I have a little lav mic clip up here so that I don't have the big block. Also, the big block doesn't work on these kinds of shirts. And then for the actual encoder, I am using something new that I'm trying out. This is something that TBS sent me. That's what it looks like. This is the thing doing the actual stream right now, so hopefully I don't mess it up by touching it. HDMI in, Ethernet power, and USB, which I don't really know what it's for yet, still playing around with it. And it does actually have HDMI out as well. And that is because this is not only an encoder, but it's also a decoder. So I am also looking forward to trying that out with it. So far, I've only done a couple of little tests. The link to this is in the description. And oh yeah, one of the really cool things about this, I don't know if you can see it very well. It's not very bright right now. There's a little screen on the front, and it actually shows you little stats. So it'll show you the IP address, which is really useful because if you just plug it into your network, it'll tell you how to find it. And then it's also got the resolution of the input signal. I wish there was a way to make that screen brighter. I feel like it was brighter when I first turned it on. But then it tells you also audio stats and the CPU and temperature. So you can see actually how much it's working and how warm it is. So, because you can actually do a whole bunch of stuff with it. We're going to take a look at that on my computer in a minute, but it does a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's cool that it shows you the stats right on there, so you can be like, oh, am I pushing it too far by making it do 5 streams and I need to like tone it down a bit. So cool little device. Just started to play around with it, but that is what is encoding today's show. However, like last week, like I talked about last week, the encoder is not pushing to YouTube. The encoder is pushing to Lightstream Studio. So I'm on that setup again today because I don't have, my gear is off downstairs. I just turn it off to not generate more heat. And that means this camera is pushing to Lightstream, and Lightstream is where I'm then adding in the graphics. So I've got the comments coming in through the browser source in Lightstream Studio. I've also got the countdown clock is up in that browser source. And that's where the music is playing from, again, from that browser source, as well as the thumbnail for the show at the beginning and the comments and all that stuff. That's all up there. And I even have that little animation stinger that opened the show, so I can just run that. And that is also playing from the browser source. So a lot of fun, and it's a pretty good setup for being pretty portable. Oh, and then I do have a light here. So if I cover that, you can see it's not the best lighting in here. So I do have a light helping brighten things up a little bit. That is the Falcon F7 II, which they also did send this one to me, and I have been enjoying it quite a lot. It is very powerful. This is only set to 60% right now, so it's not at full brightness, and it's doing a good job, considering this is like a daylight in here. Okay, we got some more temperatures coming in. 26C, 94 in Phoenix at 10 a.m. Sorry, 25 and 81, 17 in Sweden, 20C. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that, yeah, there's, it's hot in Portland. That's what I'm gathering from this. Not a lot of places warmer than Portland right now. 26 over in the middle of the Netherlands. 17 and raining. That sounds very nice right now. I would love that right now. Okay, cool. So as always, if you do have a question for me, put the word question in at the beginning, or mention my name, and it will sort it into the right column in my little chat thing, so I don't miss it. And oh, 97 in Vegas. Oh gosh. 30 in Bratislava. Okay, you got some serious heat too then. But it is evening over there. And oh, Anomaly says 32C in Portland, so a little warmer over on that side of town. Will the ZV-1 overheat? Good question. Yeah, it definitely would. If I were outside, I think it can survive this temperature outside right now, but once it gets into like the hundreds, I don't think it would work very well. I was very tempted to do this stream from outside today and just sit in the heat as it gets hotter and hotter over the next hour. But I decided against it because I just want to stay cool. I definitely have had the ZV-1 overheat though, and I think that was part of related to the problems I was having powering it over USB, because the charging generates more heat than just powering it over the fake battery. So powering it over the fake battery means the temperature stays lower and then it doesn't just shut down. Tim says Portland made the national BBC news today in the UK. Yeah. That's good. White balancing, daylight through the window, candlelight in the two light fittings either side of the window. Thanks. Yeah, I did a little bit of staging of this to set this up. Those are like regular. They're not actually incandescent, but they're like the LED bulbs that are incandescent temperature. And then I've got this light set to much, much bluer, kind of almost matching the daylight so that those look even more yellow. Graham says, I thought you might be out at the bridge where you did your smoky stream. I forgot that you need to be in for the AC. I was thinking about it. I was definitely thinking about going to a park or something. I would not want to do it at that bridge because there's zero shade there, and I don't think my gear would survive direct sunlight for that long. All right, this is, from the Amazon description, USB recording, support video recording via USB in the format. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, like I said, I'm still experimenting with this thing. I also noticed in the settings, it mentions a USB webcam. So that's either, I don't know which way it's going. I don't know if it takes a USB webcam in or if it provides a USB webcam out. It's the wrong shape for what you would normally plug into a computer, right? It's got the flat one, which is normally you plug stuff into that, but I've definitely seen some manufacturers get that backwards for whatever reason. But that's cool. We'll see. I'll experiment with that at some point. Roland says, what's the advantage of this setup versus grabbing one of your older ATEM Minis? I've repurposed mine for on-site along with a Pi running companion and a 15-key StreamDeck. Yeah, that's a fair question. I think for me, the advantage of this is that it's less stuff to set up. So it's camera, mic, which are kind of one unit, and then I have one encoder and short cable between them. I guess it would be approximately the same if I was using one camera with the ATEM Mini. I just feel like if I'm going to bring an ATEM Mini up here to do that, then I should use more cameras. And then it just starts to add up of like, now I gotta power more cameras and now I have to have more HDMI cables. So I would also, for up here, I probably could have, because I can run up and down really quick and bring stuff and I don't have to worry about like forgetting to bring a certain cable. If I were going to go outside somewhere, I would be even less excited about bringing more cables and more stuff to forget. Plus, I just like experimenting with new combinations of gear. What is the temperature in the living room now? So in here is a very, very comfortable, where is that? It is a very comfortable 73, which is 22 Celsius. And that is thanks to the air conditioning up there on the wall. It's a little mini split unit and it does a very good job. I am attempting to funnel some of that cool air downstairs to see if that works. I ran a little tube between that window and the downstairs window. Not totally sure it's going to work, but I am graphing the temperature to see if it makes any difference. And why don't I try to show that? No, I'll do that later when I show my computer screen. Here's a question. Is there a MacGyver way to record directly out of the ATEM Mini without a computer? Yes, absolutely there is. There's several different HDMI recorders that are available. So that's what you need to look for is obviously the original ATEM Mini doesn't do anything with hard drives. It doesn't record onto hard drives like the ATEM Mini Pro, so you'll need to capture the HDMI out of the ATEM Mini. So you need some sort of HDMI recorder, and there's tons of options. So there's the Blackmagic Video Assist, which is the little 5 or 7 inch monitor that you can put SD cards into. It runs off a battery if you want, or you can power it. There's other standalone HDMI recorders for usually marketed at like gaming or that kind of world. Sometimes they are smaller or don't have a screen or whatever it is. There's the whole like Ninja Blade and that product line. So lots of options there. But basically, what you need to do is look for an HDMI recorder. That's the solution. Jason says, I installed the Ping Now ATEM rack mount on Friday. Are you planning to review it? Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know they were already shipping. That's fantastic. Very cool. I don't know. I haven't actually talked to them about getting one up here, but that'd be a good idea. Here's a good question. Would you do a coding session explaining how to develop this browser source? I think a lot of us would be interested, especially to use it with Lightstream. You know, I might do that. That's not a bad idea. I think there's definitely some amount of things you can do by just copying and pasting. Like, honestly, a lot of what I've been doing in this is just copying and pasting code I find elsewhere, like the little, some of the audio playback stuff. I'm like, Google HTML5 audio player, and then I find the code for it. Or some of the animations in CSS. I'm not like terribly good at CSS, so I'll go find somebody's CSS animation and pull it in. And yeah, I could probably show some of that. But I apologize, I did not actually publish the extension update last week like I promised. I don't see any reason I can't do it this week. So the chat extension that I wrote for Chrome, I have it ready to go where it is now able to be used as an external browser source. And I've used it a couple times now in I've used it a couple times now in a couple of different streams, and it's been working fine, so I'm ready to publish that. So keep an eye out for that this week. And that'll be the same chat overlay plugin. Oh yeah, that's the next question. That'll be the same chat overlay plugin, so if you've already got it installed, it'll just auto update, and you'll see a new button in there called Pop Out. If you don't click it, it works the same way as before. Like, you can still chroma key the window if you want, but it will work as a pop out chat so that you can bring it into Lightstream Studio or OBS. Alonzo says, hi, greetings from Italy. Would you suggest Video Ninja as a reliable platform for bringing in guests in a live stream at this point, or is it too early? I think it is a pretty good option. It's definitely, I've been using it a couple times now. I've used it for some streams here, so you can go back and find the interview I did with Adam, who makes the Mix Effect app. That one was using OBS or Video.Ninja. Last week, I actually did a quick demo of bringing in a browser source from that into Lightstream Studio, which worked surprisingly well. And that is pretty cool. It's very easy to configure, easy to set up, especially for the guest, and it works pretty well. There's obviously going to be some issues of, like, you have to make sure you're using a fast enough computer to run it, because it is in a computer and relies on the video output of the computer to actually get a good signal from it. But I've been very happy with it. I've been very impressed. Question about the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. Is it possible to ISO record only some of the inputs? I want to record 2 or 3 inputs for a couple hours and not record all 8. No, it's not. It's all or nothing, or it's all or program or nothing. You can't selectively choose. You can't selectively choose the inputs to record. It just, once it's in ISO mode, they all get recorded. And it just means you have to have a big enough hard drive, but it's easy enough to just delete the files afterwards if you don't want them. Are you using an ATEM Mini? Not today. All of my ATEM Minis are powered off currently. Waterproof streaming gear so you can stream while sitting in a stream. Nice. That'd be a fun one. My iPhone is waterproof and the Insta360 is waterproof. So that is a possibility. That is a possibility. This little guy is not waterproof, so not going to do it with that one. Michael says, will your supporting StreamDeck Stand support the Deck Saver? I assume Deck Saver, not Deck Saver. That's the plastic cover for the top. Yeah, so while I am answering that question, I did bring this upstairs just to show it off again. This is the extension for the Stream Deck. This is my early prototype. The one that you actually can order will look better, promise. This is a prototype, and also it's printed on my tiny printer, which isn't big enough to print this whole thing in one go, so I had to split it. You can see I had to cut it in two, and then it fit on the print bed. So you'll get one that's all in one piece, and it'll be a lot stronger. But this is, pre-orders are available, are launched now. So if you look in the link in the description, there's a link to the website for the store, and we are doing pre-orders now from the US, EU, and Australia. And those are launched. So they'll start shipping in about a week. And yeah, this is the XL version attached to the Extreme. And if you put them side by side, there is enough room for the Deck Saver cover to fit on top of the ATEM Mini Extreme still. There's just enough of a gap between the two to let that cover sit on top. And yeah, so I'm super excited about having this launched, having this out there, and that is the third and final of the set. So we've got the 15-button Stream Deck for both the ATEM Mini Extreme and the ATEM Mini small one, and it will tilt it to the right angle to match to be flush on both of them, and then the XL version of the Stream Deck will sit next to the ATEM Mini Extreme. And I did not do one for the ATEM Mini because it is just it's an awkward size. It's like taller than the ATEM Mini, so it just doesn't look good. But 15 buttons is probably enough for the original ATEM Mini anyway. So yeah, that's done. It's out there. I'm super excited to have that out there. AK Productions, I cannot go without saying that your door handle box is not straight. It's less not straight than it looks because the whole door is at an angle because of the wide angle lens, but you are correct. It is not straight, and I keep meaning to fix it. If you have a large fan, use it to guide the cooler air. Oh, so I actually have a 6-inch fan, like for a duct at the bottom that's pulling the air in from up here. And it's doing, you can feel the air being pulled in from up here. Like you can put paper next to the intake there and it'll suck it in. The AC is not noisy. I know, I love this thing. The compressor is outside. It's a mini split, so the compressor is outside on the ground, giant thing making a ton of noise, and then the one in here is virtually silent. So I am very, very tempted to put one of those in the studio as well, because they make compressors that can feed two of them, dual zone. Very tempted to do that because it seems like this weather is not going to go away, and we're just going to be stuck with this for forever. And yeah, so I think it's going to be worth it in the long term. The problem is it's very expensive, so I don't think I can add a second indoor unit to the existing compressor, so I have to replace that. So it's a whole kit, so it's going to be several $1,000s plus labor. But yeah, we'll see. Where was I? Third and final of the set until Blackmagic launches another ATEM at NAB. I know. That was, that's what happened with this one, with the Extreme. I was so excited about launching the original stand for the ATEM Mini, and then I was like, okay, next up is going to be the StreamDeck attachment for that stand, and then I can start doing other attachments for the mini stand. And then like right before I launched that, they announced the ATEM Mini Extreme, and I was like, oh boy, back to the drawing board, and now I have to go do a whole new design for that one. And let me just tell you, this one is a lot more complicated. It took a lot longer to do the ATEM Mini Extreme version compared to the tiny one, just because of how big it is, because of how long this piece is. I can't print it. I can't rely on printers that can do this all in one go, so I had to make it in 2 parts and do a bunch of testing to make sure it's strong enough. Same with the bottom bars, and remeasuring everything to get it to all fit. So yeah, that definitely like threw a wrench into my plans for all the other stuff that I was going to do. And but now it's done. We've got the 2 stands for the 2 ATEM Mini sizes. I hope they don't launch a new ATEM Mini profile size anytime soon. Like, keep those form factors. Just keep packing more electronics into them. And then and I've got the 2 Stream Decks, and cross my fingers, Elgato does not launch new Stream Decks anytime soon, because I also don't want to have to go and redo those right now. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, what about airflow when they sit together? I don't have a picture, I don't have the devices up here, they're downstairs, but if you look at the product page, you can see pictures of them sitting next to each other. So why don't we just take a look at this? This is going to be an experiment. I'm going to change scenes in Lightstream Studio to a scene that includes my computer screen sharing. So with any luck, you'll be able to see my computer screen on the stream, and I will still be on the screen in a little small thumbnail. So I hope I don't break anything by doing this. And I'm also not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure how the audio transition is going to work. So if there's a slight gap, that is what's going on. Okay, but I've got the scene queued up, and there's also that RTMP delay of the cameras pushing to Lightstream, so I need to okay, anyway, you're also going to get a little tunnel effect as soon as I do this until I switch to another tab, so sorry in advance. Okay, here we go. Okay, that is now, you're seeing the tunnel vision, but this is my computer screen, and this is the one that's actually controlling Lightstream. Maybe I should have thought of that and brought my phone. I should have had my phone logged into Lightstream too, so I can change the scene back without switching to that tab. So I'm going to go do that. See if I'm still logged in. So when you load Lightstream Studio on your phone, it actually redirects you to remote.golightstream.com, and then you just get these little buttons and you can scene switch. So I don't know why it says I'm offline, probably because I'm on the wrong, I'm on the right one. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you. The Extreme, the small one, there's all the accessories, and then, oh yeah, this is cool too, the little aluminum base. And then we've got the, this one. So here it is. You can see there's a gap there, which lets that deck saver cover fit in. I even put the deck saver on the, in the photo. And the StreamDeck extension, this is a link that's in the description. Somewhere in here, I have a photo of, oh, I don't have the photo on the page. Okay, I had the long photo. I think it's on the product pages. So if you click into the store, it is in, here it is. This is the one that I wanted to show. So that's, that gap is there because I wanted to make sure the deck saver cover fit on top, and also because I don't want to block all the air intake is on the sides. So air coming in from the sides and it blows up the top. Okay, so now how do I switch back to, well, that's good, that's working. And then can I switch? Okay, my phone is definitely not connected, so I'm going to switch back this way. And then let's see if I mess everything up in the chat. Where was I? Is the stream suffering for anybody else, or is this a local problem? No, everybody says it's fine. Fine, fine. Great, good to hear. And audio seemed okay. Good, maybe I paused. The next stand should also include a coffee cup holder and a hot water dripper holder and place to put the grinder and filter paper for the dripper. Wait, I think you're describing something else. This is Aaron, not Peter McKinnon. Yeah. I seriously doubt they're going to, I really don't think they're going to do any other mini lines, things in that line anymore. I expect they're going to do something on the rack mount side, which these cases aren't meant to be rack mount cases. You need a whole different thing for that. Those need to be out of metal. But we'll see what happens if they do launch a rack mount cage. And I'm like, oh, if only I could put it into this with, well, whatever. There's other people doing rack mount cages. I'll probably leave it to them. Okay. Do you know if there will be a metal extension that also supports the StreamDeck extension? Oh, yes, there will be. So the aluminum base, it adds like these aluminum bars onto the bottom of the stand, and they are also working on a little extension that pokes out and holds up the StreamDeck as well. So keep an eye on those store pages. Okay, what happened? Oops, stream dropped, you dipped out. All okay now, working, now back. That's interesting. I wonder what happened. Oh. Okay, I can explain, maybe. I have an idea. So hopefully that transition to the screen share wasn't too bad, because I want to do it again. So, okay, I'm going to go back to my screen sharing. Maybe I need to keep my, I should have, normally I have two devices and I am watching the chat on my other device. So let me bring that up on my phone at least, so I can see the chat when I'm not in that tab on my computer. This is Lightstream Studio. This is what's streaming right now. And so here's what was happening. In this scene, let me make sure my quick scene switches off. Yeah. So in this scene, I've got my screen plus the RTMP in the corner. So that's picture in picture. Now that I'm looking at it, I should probably have been on the other side because I'm looking away from it. So here, let me go do that, and then move this one over here and update. Okay, so cool. Now it's blocking more. I don't know if I can crop. I don't think I can crop it. I don't see any crop options. Just to resize. Okay, so I'll just make it a little smaller. Get out of the way. So what I want to show you though is on this scene. So this is the main scene, and I've got three sources. I've got the overlay graphics up on the top. I've got my RTMP feed, and then below it I have my channel art. And that's what you were seeing. So what happened is it means my RTMP stream dropped for a second or two. So tell me in the chat, but I think my audio dropped too, right? So I'm assuming that both the audio and the video dropped when you saw that graphic. But what I did was I put this graphic down here so that there would still be something on the screen. And of course, since the chat is in the browser source, the chat was still appearing also. Everybody's saying, yes, both dropped. Okay, so that's what happened. The RTMP stream dropped for some reason. And because the because the RTMP feed disappeared, that layer disappeared, and then the graphic that's below it showed up, which I made my title screen, and I probably should have made something that says like signal lost or something, right? Which I have somewhere on here. So that would have made it more clear that you're not looking at my title screen. It actually is there was a problem. But that's better than going black, and that's better than the stream actually dropping, which is again why I prefer streaming into something in the cloud rather than streaming directly from these encoders to YouTube. So that at least kept the YouTube feed active. YouTube didn't know any of that was happening. Okay, I'll go back to this library. I can use my computer again. Great. William says, I have an ATEM Mini Pro your rack and just order the StreamDeck XL. Please reconsider manufacturing a rack extension for it. There are other people making rack mount versions, and I don't think I'm going to go into that with the 3D printing world. I feel like it's not the best use of 3D printing. You need a lot of metal to make that work, so I will just leave that to them. So I have a fallback page. Went to holding slides up below your RTMP. I explained that. Stream did not drop because the chat was still working. Exactly. Chat overlay. Yep. So audio drop 2. Chat was fine. Nice fallback option. Yep. Yeah, you need high trust for the RTMP input feed. Any idea why it dropped? No, I don't know, actually. I'm actually kind of surprised. So the encoder is hardwired into my internet at the studio, and I do have gigabit here, so it should have been fine. The temperature on here is still the same as it was. Maybe it's a little brighter now, you can see it. I don't know why it got dimmer before. So you can see the temperature it's telling you is 46 or whatever, and then the CPU has been hovering around 15%. So I didn't see anything happen on there, and I don't see any way to look at like logs on the encoder, unfortunately. So I don't know what happened, but at least it was only momentary. So the problem was the encoder? Yes, probably. So, okay. You need a new web presenter just for fun? Yeah. I am still trying to get it back from them. So I had it for a while, and I was using it for one of the problems. If I'm trying to like show you stuff about the ATEM Mini Extreme, I need to be able to show you the multi-view, and that means I need the multi-view in the stream, which means I need to be able to output one of the HDMIs into the live stream, so I can't encode on the ATEM Mini Extreme. So I was using the web presenter to encode the stream instead, and then I can actually show you stuff in the ATEM Mini Extreme multi-view. I was having some problems with that on my network. They were not able to reproduce those problems. So I'm hoping to get one back and see if I have more luck with it, maybe try some more troubleshooting steps. Having a small display which lists the currently assigned IP address is a nice touch. I agree. It is a very nice touch. ZV-1 presenter mode works very well. I know the ZV-1 autofocus is the best, 100% the best, hands down. It is just so well done. Okay, let me go back up. See what I missed earlier. Are there any reprogrammable chips in the ATEM Mini Pro that can be reflashed to make button changes? I don't think you want to go there, no. I'm sure someone's trying to reverse engineer it, but that sounds dangerous. How are you using the Blackmagic Ultrastudio 4K Mini? How does it help with your production and or editing workflow? So right now I've been using it only for adding graphics to my stream. So when I am downstairs in the studio with the full kit, the full gear, I feed the two SDI outputs from the Ultrastudio 4K into the ATEM Mini Extreme using two of the 8 inputs, and that lets me do key fill graphics. And then I have OBS on my computer where I've got my web page pulled up with all the graphics in the web page, and OBS is doing the web page capture, feeding the output, including the key channel with real transparency into the ATEM Mini so I can do proper transparency in those graphics. That's how I've been using it. I have not used it for capturing anything yet or other things, but it's been working very well, and I like having the dual output on it. Rick says, I have the dual head mini split. Very nice to have separate zone controls. Yeah. Order the AC now or there'll be nothing available. I probably already missed the boat on it. We'll see. MixPre 3 running Noise Assist can do a good job of scrubbing out any air conditioning in your studio. Works well in a space much smaller than yours. You know, I might have to go down that route. Luckily, this one isn't really audible at all, and there's actually a refrigerator over there too that you probably can't hear, but it depends on the microphone. I think this mic is probably different. It's going to be a lot different than the mic I have on my camera downstairs, but the MixPre 3 I've been tempted to get it just because the noise assist, and then I could leave more fans on all the time. I don't think there's any room for any more electronics in the ATEM Extreme, but firmware additions would be good. There was a teardown of it, and there's a surprising amount of space inside the case. It's obviously used for like pushing air around to keep it cool, but I feel like they could cram a few more chips into there if they really wanted to. Did Canon ever respond to your comments about the G7X3? No, I didn't expect to hear anything back from Canon. I'm still disappointed by that camera. I had high hopes for it, also because it actually it had a microphone jack and HDMI out, and the 2 does not. And it was just so sad, the autofocus. Sony A7C autofocus is even better. I switched from the ZV-1. Cool, okay. That's awesome, yeah. Oh, hey, that is a super chat. Thank you for that. Right before a stream, my mini ISO gave me a cache full warning and wouldn't let me go live no matter what I tried. Any tips to eliminate this from reoccurring? Right before a stream. So normally the cache full warning shows up only if you actually are streaming. So were you like streaming, were you streaming to YouTube before YouTube was actually live? Because I've only ever seen it do cache full after you've pressed the on-air button. Let me know about that one. There's really only like 2 different things that can be going wrong with that. Well, okay, there's probably more than that. But the 2 main things are going to be you actually are having network trouble, and you have to solve the network issues, the bandwidth issues of like move to, reduce other stuff that's going on in the network or whatever it is. That, or the ATEM is just having a problem. There's just a bug. And usually if you restart it, it fixes it. I have had that happen a couple of times. Last week, while things were getting pretty warm down there, not as warm as this week, but it was still pretty hot down in the studio. A couple times I had my audio from the USB output disappear. So I went to go open up Zoom and start a meeting, and Zoom had no audio, but I could see the audio meters on it. I could hear the audio in my headphones. It was just the USB output. And then I was like, okay, be right back, reboot the thing, and it's fine. So I think that's unfortunately the only good solution I have for you. But do let me know if you got the cache full warning before or after you press the on-air button, because I haven't seen it on the before you press the on-air button yet. I am looking for a way to restream SRT to RTMP for use with Lightstream, where the RTMP shuts down when SRT disconnects. Ooh. I haven't tried much in the way of converting between the two yet. I've used SRT for like point-to-point stuff, and as well as RTMP. It's actually one of the things I'm really curious to try with this encoder is the SRT support, because it supports a bunch of different stuff. It actually has NDI in there also. So, and it's encoder and decoder. So I can push to it from another encoder and decode SRT or RTMP. But I haven't tried, I haven't actually tried the converting between the two yet. Yes, after I hit on air, after 8 streams, and I feel paranoid now. I know, it's really unfortunate when your gear like betrays you and then you just don't trust it anymore. I don't, but yeah, I would say it's most likely actually a network problem. Yeah, the stream, if it's not able to get through, the ATEM knows it's not being received and it will start caching it instead of dropping it. And I've done some demos of that before, which is actually really cool, where you can, if you just yank the cord out, it'll start filling up the cache. Plug the cord back in, it's able to flush the cache up to YouTube. And you can, if you watch live, you will, obviously, there will be a gap where there was no data. But if you watch the recording, there's no gap because it's able to, it did record that stuff locally during the time it was offline. But if it's not able to flush the cache, obviously the cache fills up and then you're out of luck. Yeah, I want to test it with my encoder, but I would prefer to have SRT to somewhere stable and then RTMP from there rather than using RTMP the whole way. Oh, I see. Yeah. So you want to go SRT from the field for better error recovery and stuff, but then go RTMP. I mean, you would need, yeah, I'm sure there's some piece of software that can do it. I guess OBS can do it, right? Because you can receive, can't you receive SRT with OBS? I don't know if I've actually tried that, but I feel like you probably can. Yeah. Did you see Doug Johnson's YouTube recently about his issues with the StreamDeck? Have you experienced any issues? We were chatting about that in John's Discord after he posted that, and I have had some issues with the StreamDeck, but nothing like he was describing. I also don't run it on Windows, and I think that may be part of it, but that's one of the reasons why I moved it to the Raspberry Pi in the first place, was so that I had a machine that was dedicated to it doing only that. And one of the reasons is because I noticed on my Mac, when I had it plugged into my laptop, Companion was taking up like a significant amount of the CPU on my laptop, and it was, you know, making the fan turn on and all that, and I was like, this is super silly. I don't really trust this. And I don't know why it was doing that. It may have been one of the plugins I had. I don't really know, but at that point I was just like, whatever, I'm just putting it on a Raspberry Pi. There's no fan on the Pi, it'll be there, and it's been solid since then. So I haven't really had any issues. Graham says, my workplace had the ATEM fail to start a Facebook stream. I don't know if it was the ATEM or Companion that locked up, and now I'm getting worried. Oh no, it's no good. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, OBS can do this sort of, I'm trying to get rid of OBS and use Lightstream for field stuff. Right, yeah. Maybe Lightstream can add SRT support. I feel like that's doable. That's something that it would be within their realm of possibility. That would be really cool. SRT source, just like a RTMP source. Possible quick fix for cache will stop stream and immediately restart. Do it fast enough so that YouTube doesn't end your stream. I assume the ATEM will dump the cache when off air. Yeah, totally. That's one option. So at the point that you're seeing the cache start to go up or the cache full error, YouTube is already not getting that data. So you can't really hurt it anymore by turning it off air, other than you lose what's in the cache. So if you don't mind, or if it's already cache full, that means it stopped recording, it stopped being able, you've already lost data. So if you don't mind losing that data, you can try turning it off, turn it back on again, and if you do it fast enough, the RTMP server, YouTube or Facebook, they won't shut down your stream. But this is also the reason that I set my YouTube to not auto stop. So if let me go back to my screen share. So if I show you my YouTube settings, I don't have it set to auto start, and I don't have it set to auto stop, because I want to make sure that it doesn't think that just because the RTMP source is gone that I have actually stopped the stream. So if you do that, you can actually go and this is the experiments I've done in the past, which is I've gone into YouTube, made sure the auto stop is off, and then I will actually, yank the Ethernet cord out of the ATEM Mini. It completely stops getting data, and then you can plug it back in again, or you can push a different encoder to it and it'll pick right up again. And I don't know if it has a timeout eventually where it'll give up on you, but it's definitely longer than a few minutes. So that's been fun to test that. Yeah, you have the connections to ask them. I will provide that feedback. They've been asking me for feedback, so I'm writing up a whole list of notes about Lightstream Studio, and I will definitely include SRT support in the request. If you go off air, don't you lose ISO file recording? No. So that's one of the cool things, is that in the ATEM Mini Pro and or ISO, either extreme or not, the streaming encoder and the hard drive are independent. So if you hit record, you can record everything locally, and that will record whether or not you're streaming. And the streaming is a separate button. So you can turn off streaming, it'll keep recording, you have all that data locally. You can just flip on and off streaming as much as you want. Can you run Companion and PlayOp on the same Raspberry Pi, or should I be using two different Pis? You definitely can, and I've heard of people doing it. I think it's just a matter of how much you're pushing both of them. So like the more things you have connected to Companion, the more work it has to do, both like devices but also interfaces. So if you have like 5 stream decks, it's going to be doing more work than if you just have one. And same with the PlayOp. So depending on like the type of file you're playing back, for example, it will require more or less CPU. So it's definitely possible for like the sort of base level amount of encoding and using Companion. So give it a shot, and then like try to find a limit, like see how much you can push it before it starts causing a problem. But it's definitely possible. I may have missed you answering this question. How are you powering the ZV-1? It is actually being powered over the little DC coupler, so it's the battery with the tail plugged into the wall. And I prefer that one over USB power because I know that not everybody has had problems like this, but most of the time when I've tried powering it over USB, it ends up overheating or just dying. It just shuts off for some reason. And I haven't been able to figure out why it does that. It could be because the battery in the device wasn't super well charged, so it thought it needed to shut down to charge it, even though it's got USB power. Whatever it is, I just gave up on that. And the replacement is a little DC coupler that goes into the battery slot. The problem is that they did not design the battery flap to account for a little cord coming out, whereas most other mirrorless and DSLRs do have a little notch for that. And you can't put a tripod with the battery flap open because of where the tripod screw is. And that is the only complaint I have about this camera. Otherwise, it is a perfect camera. And the solution is you have to get a little cage to mount the tripod not in the center where the battery flap is, so you can leave the battery flap open. It's not ideal, but it does work. And I've been reasonably happy with it. I just wish they would have left room for the little tail to come out of the battery without the little thing. What are your plans with the Pocket 2? So I don't know why I have it out here right now, but I was filming stuff with it yesterday, showing when I was messing with the AC vent. I don't know if I'm going to publish a video about that, but we'll find out. It might go in my studio build vlog that I eventually publish. But this was the camera I used for the stream, the first stream I did with Lightstream Studio. Just this going to Lightstream Studio. That was fun. I just really like this camera, and my favorite thing on this is the time-lapse mode, where you can tell it to start here, end there, and it does like a little moving time-lapse. It's the best. Is there a cage for the ZV-1? There's a couple different ones. There's ones that's like a full cage, so you can attach all sorts of stuff to it. I don't like it being that big. One of the reasons I like the camera is because of how small it is. So I found one, which I'm pretty sure I did link down below, but I found one that's just a bottom plate, and it's just enough to get the battery flap working, and then it doesn't add a bunch of bulk. Do you have a video showing how to set up Companion in a Raspberry Pi? I don't, but several other people do. So John Barker has one here to record. Go check out his channel. I know he did a video about that. I have a similar setup with my ZV-1, but I've not yet trusted it for a live stream. Well, here you go. I've been on the ZV-1 the whole time, and the one problem I've had today was not the ZV-1's fault. If it was, you would have seen black screen there instead of it going transparent and seeing the logo behind it. Fix for the ZV-1 battery flap and angle grinder. You know, I am very tempted, and I've looked at the flap to see if there's anywhere I can just make a little notch. I'm not totally sure it actually is possible, but I'm very, very, very tempted, believe me. If I do that, I'm gonna have to make a video about it because I know other people will probably want to do it also. Okay. What else? Oh, any promo code for your viewers to use Lightstream Studio, maybe a lifetime subscription like Restream did when they launched? Can you work on a deal with the company? I will talk to them about doing something. At the very least, we should be able to do a giveaway competition for something. I don't know. I can't promise anything. I obviously can't promise a lifetime subscription, but that is a very cool thing that Restream did. I will talk to them about that, though. What HDMI cable are you using on the ZV-1? It is the, I think it's in my description. I did also post a, here we go. Here's a little kit.co page. Does that have the HDMI cable? No, it doesn't. Shoot. Oh, it's on my little video conferencing setup link. So I'll drop this link in the chat. Where's my chat? So this is a little kit.co thing I put together with, actually it's basically what I'm using today. I've got the ZV-1, the DC coupler, the switch pod is the tripod. I'm not using a cam link obviously today, but this was when I was using this camera and mic for video conferencing. And it's the light I'm using, and there's also the Rode Wireless Go. And I did in fact link to the cable I'm using. So it is a ultra thin cable. You can see it on here. So this is why I like it, because of how small it is and flexible. So it doesn't add a lot of bulk, and most importantly, it doesn't pull down on the camera when it's connected because it's just so light. Yeah, I have a bunch of those. They are fantastic. Looking at all the options, what are your current thoughts on the Blackmagic Streaming Bridge? Yeah, the streaming bridge, the weird thing about it is that it is limited to only receiving data from an ATEM Mini Pro. It does not, or the web presenter also, but it only works with the Blackmagic encoders. I can't tell if that was intentional by Blackmagic or just an accident that they didn't do any testing or compatibility effort with anything else. I feel like that's an oversight on their part, and they should make it work with any RTMP encoder. I realize it's more complicated than that because of all the video codec issues and audio codecs and all that, but that's the one annoying thing about it. That said, if you want something to push data from an ATEM Mini Pro and get it out over SDI or HDMI, it is a fantastic option because it is 100% made for that and it just works. And there is like basically no fiddling with it. So it is, I do like it for that reason, but it is limited to working with ATEM Mini Pros. Streaming bridge needs to be bidirectional. I'm not really sure how that would work, because if you're talking about doing it bidirectional, then that's basically the web presenter, right? The web presenter is the encoder, streaming bridge is the decoder. I mean, this thing is bidirectional. This is encoder and decoder, and I think it can only do one at a time, although I'm not actually sure now that I think about it. I should try it doing two things at once. But in any case, even if it were bidirectional, like, you're not going to use it for like a video conference setup because it's not actually real time. It is surprisingly close though. Last time I did it, I had very little delay. Are you using a Mac M1 laptop? OBS running stable in Rosetta 2. I thought OBS had just published an M1 version. I thought the latest update of OBS did support M1. This is an M1 MacBook Air, and I've been very happy with this. More than I was expecting to be. I was worried it was just going to be a little bit underpowered, which I haven't done any video editing on it, but for everything else I've done, it's great. And I've even done like the Prusa slicer for doing 3D printing. I run that on here, it's fine. And the Mac in the studio downstairs is the M1 Mac Mini, which I feel like maybe I'm doing too much with it. It does feel slower than this one. It could also be that I'm driving two monitors off of it instead of just the one built-in monitor on this laptop. So but yeah, in either case, I guess I haven't run OBS on this laptop. Have I? No, I don't have it on this laptop, but I do have it on the M1 Mac Mini, and it's been fine. I haven't had any issues with OBS on that, but I'm pretty sure they launched support for the M1. Okay, I saw some other questions in here. Have you done any conferences or live streams using PTZ cameras? I want to include more cam movement than Pocket cinemas allow. No, I haven't. Most I've done is put a camera on a slider. The PTZ cameras, they're just very expensive, and I feel like they also don't have the same quality as you get with a mirrorless camera or even the ZV-1. If there are ones that look like that, they're in the several $1,000 range, and I don't think I'm willing to spend that much for that. But if you're doing like an installation, conference room, church, definitely a good option for sure if you can afford it. But not something that I'm probably going to do myself. I like that cable. I had an HDMI cable pull out of my Sony a6400 the other day. Yeah. Bidirectional audio. Oh, that'd be an interesting one. Only audio on the return channel. Yeah, the two-way issue. Yeah, the audio echo is gonna be the problem. You're gonna have to use headphones because the delay is too much to really overcome it with traditional noise cancellation, I think. I know ZV-1 is used by many with the ATEMs, and none of them had issues with power. Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. With the DC coupler, I've had no issues with the power. It's only with powering over USB that I've had issues with it. Have you used it with the latest firmware by Sony for a USB webcam? I have not tried that yet. Last I checked, it was only available on Windows, and I didn't really have any interest in trying that. Seems hotter in Portland than Orlando today, upside down world. Yep. What are we up to now? We've got 89 now outside. So what is that? That is 30, almost 32 C. And it's just going to go up and up and up for the next 6 hours. Bailey, thank you for joining live, even if it is very early in Australia. Okay. Oh, this is about PTZs. I use two Panasonic AW HE40s, and I like them. They need more light than a camcorder or DSLR. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all the questions. Did I skip anything? I probably missed a couple. I'm sorry. But I think we'll wrap up here. So how are we gonna wrap this up? So again, the stand extension for the StreamDeck XL is now available for pre-order, shipping next week. Definitely, I've got some photos of it and stuff on the webpage. The link is down below. As the third in the set, I am very happy that is out there, and let me know how it goes once you get your hands on it. Send me photos, send photos to me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. It's always fun seeing those come in. Post them on Instagram, tag them with PK1 Stand, and I will see them. I follow that hashtag. And yeah, that is done. So now it's all the manufacturing work, and that's thankfully not my job. This again, a little demo of Lightstream Studio for today. Was a good excuse to try that out since I have all my gear shut off downstairs. And single camera show today, but maybe we'll work on some new experiments in the future for how I might combine several of these different things as well to do some more different kinds of shows. And with that, yeah, I'm gonna go and sit inside the air conditioning all day and hopefully drink lots of water and stay hydrated. If you are somewhere warm, drink water, eat some salt. I think I've heard that helps. I don't know what I'm saying. And yeah, stay cool. And I will see you all in the next video next week. I don't know where my end show button is. All right, thanks, bye.